This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM, KKNW, the Saturday, December 19th show, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how it affects our local economy, ultimately affecting your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time of day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, I have Jonna Hood, Managing Director of Recruiting and Pre-Licensing with Windermere Real Estate. Also, Michael Fanning, Senior VP of Services with Windermere Real Estate, and York Bauer, CEO of Moxie Work with Windermere Real Estate. So we've got a panel, or have a panel discussion with all of you, and I appreciate you guys are so busy, and I appreciate your time and coming into studio and joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah.
And our first conversation, I'm going to direct a lot of this directly to Jonna because it's her area of expertise, and it's in the opportunity we're going to talk today, Jonna, is about real estate and anybody that's listening and thinking about getting into real estate. So I'm excited for that conversation, but we'll have York and Michael tag in and give their feedback as well. And I want to give a little background about each of them. Jonna Hood, Managing Director of Windermere's Recruiting and Pre-Licensing Division with Windermere Professional Development since 2014 and real estate sales since 2003. She brings 13 years of real estate sales expertise and 8 years of full-cycle recruiting expertise to this organization. Jonna is passionate people person with the knack for assessing talent and aligning qualified candidates with their dream careers. Proven success rates and recognition for superior levels of service and inherently customer satisfaction experience across multiple industries and large dynamic companies in a variety of competitive markets. Exciting about challenging opportunities for personal growth and development, innately driven to increase performance and production, specifically expertise in advertising, lead generation, and video production. While working as a tech recruiter for Microsoft in 2011, Jonna furthered her specialty in marketing, business negotiation, core tech, and non-core tech recruiting, university talent acquisition, and team leadership. She also holds a degree in business management from the University of Washington. Also, we have Michael Fanning. Michael is going on his 20th year with Windermere Services. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Michael provides leadership, guidance, and training to owners, managers, and agents. With his strong background in technology and his growing knowledge of business development, he is a key player in the growth of Windermere's expansion. Early on, Michael was one of the 3 individuals who began the Windermere Technology Department, now Windermere Solutions, and as an integral piece of Windermere's professional development, it has been said that he can take a very difficult topic and make it seem clear and reliable. Michael's specialties are social media, technology, business planning, Windermere Solutions products, and certified Ninja installation instructor. And I know any realtor that's out there listening to the show today knows about Ninja. So very exciting position. And also on the panel, we have York Bauer. And York is CEO of Moxie Works, makers of Moxie Works brokerage, productivity systems, and the award-winning Touch CMA real estate presentation tool. He also serves as CIO for Windermere Real Estate, the 4th largest independent brokerage in the country, and directs their selective and use of technology across consumer agent-backed office tools. Now, having built his career around helping sales teams excel through automation and technology, his passion now is to help real estate brokers create growth. Moxie Works products are in use at the largest brokerage in the country, including Windermere, Long & Foster, and Howard Hanna. York brings 30 years of technology industry experience to the company, including previous roles as Chief Marketing Officer for the Task Group, where he drove the transformation of the company's from service-based training approach to high margin software as a service model. As Executive Vice President of Business and Corporation Development at Zango, he helped to create the world's largest client-side contextual targeting, networking through organic growth and acquisition. Well, Executive Vice President at General Manager in Info Sales, he grew its search and directory business to be the largest independent internet search network and lead the successful acquisition of Excite.com. He holds a Bachelor's of Science and Computer Science for University of Southern California. So just a little background again of each of them, and excited to have a conversation here regarding real estate as a career, because there's a lot of opportunity coming into the real estate industry right now. So, Jonna, if a listener considers getting into real estate, what are some things that they should be thinking about before considering this type of career transition?
Yeah, when I'm working with candidates, I usually explain that the real estate career is a three-part conversation. So just like when you're thinking about becoming a doctor, it doesn't start with choosing the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. There's really a deeper conversation that first needs to go into the career itself. What you see on HGTV is not always, it's only a tiny, sometimes unrealistic depiction of what we really do. So I invite candidates to spend some time thinking about the ins and outs of our role and how that applies to them as individuals. Are they an entrepreneur? Really understanding that this is not just applying for a job, it's really starting your own business. And are you really a good fit for that? And then additionally, it's important to understand, are you financially viable to make this decision? Is it a good time for you and your family to be taking a risk like getting into real estate? Are you prepared for what that entails? And then also just understanding what the current market is like. So is this a good time to be getting into real estate? Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a recruiter, so it's rare that I would tell you that it's not. But still, it's important to understand what's happening both in our local economy as well as our national economy as well. So that's the first conversation. Second, it's figuring out how to get your license, right? Are you the type of candidate that really needs live instruction training, or would you thrive in an online world? There's lots of different options, so I help candidates figure out what's the best fit for their learning environment. And then finally, and probably the most important piece, is choosing a brand to align with and understanding what that means as you launch your new career.
Guys, any tag on that as far as getting into the industry?
Well, I always say one, and it's not as scientific as Jonna says, but I have people say, I love looking at homes. That's probably not the answer you want to have if you're going to be a real estate agent. What about building relationships? If you love to build relationships and you really know how to be relevant to people, and you like looking at homes, then that's a good starting point, in my opinion.
And I get a lot of candidates that will say, well, I'm not sure if I'm good at sales. And that's a great opportunity to explain that that's not the entirety of our role. And I think within the industry, we're trying to get our agents to understand and the consumers to understand that the real value that we provide is in counseling. So it's not a transactional process, that we're coaches. Yes. We're partnering with them through a really big process and trying to be not just market leaders and transaction leaders, but thought leaders, right? So how can we partner with them through a really important process?
Exactly.
Makes a great sense. So obviously there's a lot of fallout around many in the real estate community, and actually makes in the real estate industry. So why is it that, what are some factors that you can share to avoid getting out of the industry and not being able to be successful in your new career?
Yeah, and fallout or attrition is something that's common in our industry, and whether it's a good market or a bad market, it's always there. And I, as a recruiter, was trained to use the rule of thirds. So for numbers' sake, say we hire 9 candidates. In a year, 3 of those, a third will not be here. And it's not because they're not great people.
Yes.
It just means the career might not be the right fit for them at this point in their life. And so when I'm working with a classroom of students, I explain that, and we try and dig deeper into what the reasons are. And then the next third, right, will usually end up being some level of moderate or medium level income, right? And then the last third will end up being high producing, successful real estate agents. And so the way that you can figure out or prep yourself to position in the right category is thinking about, again, financial viability. That's one of our biggest barriers to making it in real estate. It can take a year or two to really ramp up and build that consistent level of business. So are you prepared to make that transition? And then also having the discipline to be a business owner. So
Yes.
I don't think a lot of our candidates, even after they're licensed and working with an office, understand that we're not just handing out listings, that it takes a lot of time to build your book of business and your database. And that's not always a fit for everyone. We're not all entrepreneurs, and it takes sometimes trial and error to figure that out. And so I use the example with students that the gym, right? So we all know how to lose weight. It's a very simple math, calories in, calories out. Some of us even have keys to a gym. But if you look around, how many of us right now are at our highest level or personal best for fitness, right? How many of us will be bodybuilders? And there's a rule of 80-20 in real estate. 20% of the agents make 80% of the income. And that's because they treat their craft with discipline, and it's the same kind of aspect. And so some candidates will be better for that area of our business than others. And then finally, it's really making sure that you choose the right company. So who you decide to license with initially is usually the make or break of where you'll be in 6 months to a year. And I use another example. Jim Collins writes the Business 101 book, Good to Great, chapter 1, line 1. He says, make sure you're on the right bus, right? And if you think of your career and your company as the bus that's going to move you, the vehicle that's going to move you through your career, you need to look around and make sure the company you're choosing is the right bus, right? And it's going the right direction. And then second, look around that bus and make sure you're with the right people, right?
Yes.
So when you're interviewing with offices, it's not just about that sign or that brand. It's also about your management and your support staff and also your peers, right? There's some symbiotic or synergy that grows with really successful people. So you want to make sure you're aligning with the agents that you aspire to be.
So when you talk about choosing a company, so for Windermere, what do you guys look for in when you're hiring a real estate? What characteristics, and how are you making sure that those people are fitting within what the model is with Windermere and that they're going to be ultimately successful?
Yeah, we try and take a really holistic and unique approach to our selection process. Windermere inherently is very selective in who they hire, but we think that is important to our success as a brand, right? So we not only want full-time career professionals, but we want to set really high standards for performance, not just in production, but also in how you engage with your office community as well as the local community. So we're looking for people that are wanting to make this not just a job, right, but a craft, and are continually working to be the best in their career that they can be, whether it's their first year or their 20th year.
Okay. What about generations? What are you seeing as far as different generations that are coming into the real estate arena?
Well, for the last 5 to 10 years, generations has been a hot topic in real estate. Thinking of the onslaught of new buyers and sellers that we have that are in that Gen X, Gen Y, millennial space, they see their expectations are different when buying or selling a home. So we're trying to help our agents adjust their strategies and customer service to those customers' needs. And I think as a recruiter, we can do the same thing when thinking about who we hire. The average age of a realtor right now is 53. And we obviously have, even within our own company, a bulk of agents that soon will be retiring and exiting the industry. So I think that when you're looking at hiring millennials, it's important to understand a few factors of what they're looking for.
Yes.
First would be millennials are inherently entrepreneurs naturally. They've grown up in the information era, the startup era, so they're willing to take risks that other generations might not have been as prone to. They want flexibility. They want to do it on their time. They want to work remotely. They want casual Friday every day, right?
Yes.
And the tech industry has done a really good job of meeting those hires in that space. But I think as real estate companies, we can do the same thing. And real estate marries with that really easily, right? Time flexibility, income potential, entrepreneurship. And then finally, we've seen that millennials care a lot about having impact, right? They want their voices to be heard, and not in 10 to 20 years after they've climbed a corporate ladder. They believe in flat organizations. So they want to have impact in the organization from the start. And so there's no better place to do that than in real estate. On day one, you are the CEO, the marketing, the HR, all of it in one. So it opens up doors to really take ownership of your career.
So if you're listening right now and you're just graduating from college, a lot of college graduates have challenges in getting into the workforce and finding that position, and real estate might be a good opportunity for them. What would you say on that, Jonna?
Well, when you think about real estate, traditionally, I call it a transitional career. It's not something that you do as your first career out of college. It's usually your second, third, or fourth. And so I attend dozens, if not 100, college career fairs in the last decade. And I spend most of my time shedding light on what the profession means and how that ties into your degree path. Because when you're in college, there's not a lot of paths that include classes about real estate, right?
Of course.
But there's a lot, if you're worried about sitting in some cubicle when you graduate and having to climb that corporate ladder for the next 10 to 20 years, there might be a way that real estate can allow you more opportunities to, again, take ownership and apply your degree in different areas. And I also explained that real estate is not just a get your license, sell some houses, and that's it forever.
Yeah.
There's really a whole career path that can stem off of getting your license. Maybe you go into mortgage or marketing, management, ownership. And if you're really concerned about having impact, I think it took me several years to understand that our role not only has a really important impact in our customers' lives, but our industry as a whole has a severe impact on the local as well as the national economy. So that can be pretty powerful as well.
So the biggest advice before I take us to commercial and what you would have for a listener that's thinking about getting into real estate, what would be the biggest advice on the first thing for them to do?
Well, in simplicity, if I only had 3 seconds, I would say do the work. I think there's a lot of great companies that we have the tools, the systems, and the support, but we're not going to make you do it. And so it's up to you. But if you really focus on accountability and taking that risk, the reward is pretty huge.
Set yourself up for success. Make sure you're a right fit for the industry. Make sure you understand what it's going to take to be successful, and look at the excitement about being an entrepreneur, because that's definitely what it is for real estate. So thank you so much. Coming up next on the Money Hour, when choosing a real estate agent to represent you, do you want to work with average agent, or would you prefer to work with the best? Continue conversation from our panel of experts from Windermere Services right here on 1150 AM KKNW.